Never seen a smile so big on my little old lady's face until I tell her I'm going fishing all weekend. Pack up all of my bacon, I make plans for 7:45, and I swing around, pick up my date for the weekend. Some reason she seems to please when I'm leaving. There's something I'm missing when I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing.
Yeah, baby.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Bob Fish on, y'all. Always a pleasure to see you folks every Monday. Lloyd is in the house. Luke's here. Nice to see you, Luke. Tracey, that's coming up next, but you folks will be delighted to hear from Tracey and Andre from Camp McIntosh. They'll be joining us with our good buddy Moose, and we'll be talking all about Camp McIntosh and the upcoming second annual OFC Nation Retreat, what to look forward to, when to be at the dock, this, that, and everything else. We'll answer any questions that any of you have going up, because I'm sure there's a few. So let's hopefully we can clear it up. Jeremy's in the house. How you doing? Steven's here. Tony, how you doing, my friend? Richard Dunlop is with us. Oh, look at you guys, man. Mark's here. Nice to see you, Mark. Eve's in the house as well. Corey, all the way on the West Coast. Yeah, baby. Steve Shaw, as always, my friend. Your presence is missed here at CFN. We love seeing you. As I said, our thoughts are with you. Hopefully, we can put all this to bed, if you will. I'm not really sure how to say it, but basically, everything that you're going through, dude, we're feeling it, and we're hoping that it comes to a positive end for you and your family, as well as your gallbladder. Like, it'd be nice to know when we're going to get to see you operated on and get that dealt with. But Stevie's here, as always, front and center, and a huge part of our community. So big shout out. Manny, buddy, there was a certain somebody that you mentioned on the weekend that I just had to meet, that you had just run into prior to the visit to the honey hole. And lo and behold, dude, your wishes come true. I just ran into Gallo, the blue-collar angler. He is with our good buddy Moose over at his place. Gallo had to take off because his wife was waiting. He got dropped off there at 9:30 in the morning, and he's been at Moose's place till now. Can you believe that? It happens to me all the time. Every time I get to Moose's place, it's never an early departure, but I got to meet him. And I got to meet Manny and Francesca, as I mentioned, up at the honey hole. We had a fantastic time. It was an honor to finally fish with you, bud. You and Francesca were a delight to be around, a lot of fun. It was great to have my buddy Jeff up. We haven't fished in a while either, but needless to say, it was awesome, dude. Thanks for coming, and we'll do it again for sure. John's in the house. How you doing, John? John from LPBAA and EB. I'm going to say that's Long Point Bass Association and Erie Bass Masters. Is it possible? Hope I got that right, John. Nice to see you. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Rob's in the house. Nice to see you, Rob. You're more than welcome, Manny. As I said, it was my pleasure, and it was a delight to have you. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I hope everybody's looking forward to our upcoming guests. Unfortunately, Jay Barnucz is not going to be with us this week or next. He's busy at work. He's traveling all over the place, so we're going to sadly miss Jay, but I know Big Jim and Lawrence are going to fill in. And of course, as mentioned, we have Tracey and Andre from Camp McIntosh. Moose and I are going to be discussing, asking questions, everything you need to know about the OFC Nation second annual retreat and Camp McIntosh, what you need to bring, what you need to be concerned of. As I said, what time you got to be at the dock? Do I need this? Do I need that? There's a whole bunch of questions that I'm sure I can think of, and I'm sure others as well. So we'll get to that. The only other announcement that I have, because there are no major announcements, we're also going to be doing our giveaway for this. All those who reached out to me and PM me, there weren't a lot of you, but there was enough of you and some big names. In fact, I believe almost all of them, except one, are watching here right now. Joe Moore's in the house. Happy Monday to you, my friend. Always a pleasure to see you. And Corey, you were on that list, so you have a chance, buddy. You have a chance to win. That'll be coming up at the end of the show. We'll be spinning the wheel, finding out who the last CFNer is standing, and we will be giving that away. Without delay, let's bring in the one and only Big Jim McLaughlin. Love to see him, and I'll tell you, he's got some serious flow going on today, unless he put on a hat. We'll see you in a sec, right after this. Oh, you did put the hat on. Guys, folks, look at that flow. Does he not look 20 years younger?
You should have seen the pile of hair on the floor when they cut my hair because it was on my shoulders, eh?
Dude,
the girl was out of breath. She's cutting and she's...
Wow. Well, what a job. I don't know who your hairdresser was, but buddy, they did a fantastic. That's some serious flow. Good for you, man. You're gonna be beating Tammy off with a stick with flow like that.
The best ever with my haircut was when I went to get my haircut after COVID ended.
Yeah.
I didn't get a haircut for a year and a half. The little kid asking the mother, why does the old man have so much hair? She was so embarrassed. I told her, hey, it's a legitimate question.
That's hilarious.
Yep.
Jim, it's that time of year. The tournament seasons have pretty much come to an end. You'll see
the Pan Am qualifier was held in Ganlockaway today.
Yeah.
I went down this morning, poked around there, said hi to Andy and Vita and whatever else, and I was talking to Chong last night, and then he phones me tonight, and I says, how did you do? He says, oh, we won. And I said, yeah, no, but who had the biggest weight? Did Bob win? Like not Bob Izumi, Bob McMillan, because he did so well on the regular tournament they had there this weekend, the GAN Cup. And he said, no, we won. I said, are you serious? I thought he was being sarcastic, eh?
Wow.
They weighed in almost 28 pounds, so that's pretty cool.
Congratulations to Team Canada in the Pan American Games.
Yeah.
Is it an annual thing, Jim? They got
the qualifying. That's what they just went down. They were down in the States for.
Yeah.
And next year it's in Canada, and I guess some of the guys are going to fish at the same kind of thing. 2 or 3 of the teams are going to fish in Spain.
Is that right?
against the Spanish guys who've always come over here and think it's kind of cool. Just having a good time together.
Yeah, no, it is, and you got some serious sticks that compete in this league, as we found out from.
The nice thing about it is anybody can go.
Yeah,
and some guys don't like that, but I don't know. I think it's cool. I think it gives it that brings it that grassroots touch.
It sure does.
There was so many guys there like that went down to the States. There was a few got to go down, and they're not really tournament guys.
Mm-hmm.
They just sort of do the odd one on the weekend, and they went down, and they just happened to, like last year in Quinny, and they squeaked in right at the bottom, went down, had a great time. They learned how tough it really was to fish in the U.S. in a lot of these lakes where there's a lot of tournaments, and where you got 5 tournaments in a weekend, plus you got 500 recreational guys.
Yeah.
It's not just the tournaments, it's the recreational guys. There's just so many more fishermen per square foot type thing.
100%. Jim, we made a post today. Steve did a beautiful edit of our good buddy Cooper Gallant. And some would say, and he's holding a beautiful lake trout from up in Northern Ontario. I believe he's up in the Kenora area. But needless to say, some will argue that Canadian anglers are far more versatile when it comes to fishing because we have so many species to target.
Oh yeah.
And it makes us that but you talk about we might be versatile, but when we don't know waters and when we go to a completely different country, how much of that raw knowledge can we carry over, or do we have to adapt?
No. It's not like that, because look how long it took for guys from Canada who were true multi-species fishermen to do well down in the States.
Yeah.
And then, a lot of people don't realize it. You look at Gussie, classic example. Total multi-species guy. The Johnson brothers, they spent a lot of time fishing smallmouths. They spent a lot of time fishing largemouths. They spent a lot of time fishing walleyes in the core,
Yep.
They did a lot of other things too, but they really poked their nose into bass fishing. Rocky and I were both absolute multi-species anglers. We fished for everything. We guided for muskies. We guided for bass. I guided for walleyes in the Ottawa River, doing the back trolling bit with the Lindy rigs and all that stuff and everything. And so I think in the beginning it was more of an advantage than it is now.
Makes sense.
Because now you've got guys that have got 20 years experience of just bass fishing.
Yeah. And
that allows them, they've got to know the bass really well, where
Yeah.
before it was a little different. So yeah,
it's amazing to hear too. A lot of anglers that start in the rivers. I mean, Cooper Gallant was steelhead angler. He was a current
from Toronto.
Yeah. JP DeRose is another one, popular name that started in the rivers. I'd like to say almost Italo Bigman was a river angler before he was any other kind of angler. But needless to say, we have a multitude of species in our Canadian cool waters, and we are blessed to have them because it makes us better anglers. And we see it with the Johnsons, Gussie, Coopers of the world running around, toting our flag and spreading the word of the Canadian anglers.
Cooper's enjoying it.
Oh yeah,
He's hungry. The opportunities come. I mean, that kid. Did you see the thing I posted about 5 years ago in my memories? After he had already fished some pretty big tournaments, had paid his money, got it, took his licks.
Yeah.
And he was posting that he would cut lawns to call him because he needed to get money.
Yeah.
To go fishing like that right there. That's like, that's big time.
100%.
That's the dedication. Yeah.
Yeah. It's well, as always, it's a pleasure to see you, and it's a great news to hear that the Just Fishing magazine is almost ready to be posted and available. How close are we with that, Jim? Because I know you're excited.
Maybe sometime middle of next week. Middle of next week.
And if anybody,
I just got to keep Tammy away from the quilt ladies.
Wow. Well, when quilting's taking over fishing, we're in trouble. We won't.
Well, you've seen the quilt room.
Oh, I can't believe one woman produced all that.
Yeah,
that's insane.
The stuff she has is incredible. I should never have pushed her toward.
100%.
That's my retirement. They're selling that.
Never mind the magazine. We're selling quilts. I
get
it.
The magazine and the fishing stuff.
Well, if you're still interested in the magazine, Steve has just posted the link. That's where you need to go when it is up and running. You can look at past issues there as well.
Yeah.
But Jim, as I said, you have spoken to, interviewed, promoted, published a whole multitude of anglers. Some of them Canadian, some of them American.
Well, Tim Allard and Justin Hoffman were I published Justin Hoffman's first article ever.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Tim. I was talking to Tim this morning, in fact, on the phone coming back from Gananoque before I went to the gym, and he's doing very well. I mean, he doesn't have another job. Tim is an outdoor writer, and that's the really cool thing about it, because there's I don't really know. You look at Gord Pizer, who does a ton of writing in that, but he worked for the Ministry of Natural Resources for 35 years.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't. I mean, Tim's biting it and doing it. He's that's what he does to pay the mortgage. Now his wife has a really good job and works hard, and we bug him and call him Mr. Mom and everything, but he wanted to be an outdoor writer, boy, and he's done it. He's very well known. He's got a lot of pen names. There's stuff that he does in the States. That's how much that he does. He has to go under aliases, because it would be the Tim Allard show in a lot of places.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a great topic to bring up, because at the end of the day, folks, say they've said to Moose, I'm sure they've said to you, they've said to myself, if you guys are doing this, like you should be making a lot of money. And if there's anything that I can help, and I'm sure, Jim, you're on the same page, don't get into this industry in hopes that you're going to make a living. But if you work really hard, there is a possibility. It's just really tough to get there.
It comes back to life, Scotty? And if people, I don't know. I was talking to a buddy of mine today. I've never met the guy. He's a former SEAL, and he's a motivation guy. And I was talking to him today, and he said to me, I don't know what it is with people today. They're all waiting for someone to come and rescue them. And he didn't say it in words that politely.
Yeah.
Because he's done the real show. He's been shot and left for dead and whatever else in the whole thing. I mean, he's like big time, eh? He was on two numbered SEAL teams. He never told me the numbers, but he was on two of them. And to hear some of these guys, like the motivation about, he talks to me, he says, one of the best things, and you'll see a lot of guys have adopted this now. Like 20 years ago, he came up with the thing about a person who's appears to be down on their luck and having a hard time functioning and whatever. Well, he said the first thing you do in the morning when you get up is you make your bed, because that way you accomplish something that day.
Yeah.
You didn't come home or walk back in your bedroom at dark and go, ugh, my bed's not made. It's a really funny thing. Every morning when I get up, I make the bed. Every morning, it's one of the things that I do. Whether I'm going out, whether I'm coming back here to work, to tie jigs, to do an interview, whatever I'm doing, that's one of the things that I do. And I've really, it's funny how little things like that, your commitment to yourself is so important. So important. That's why, like, I sat outside the gym today, Scotty, this morning for probably 15 minutes on the phone, hoping that an email or something would come so I didn't have to go into the gym. I just didn't want to go in. I was hurting so bad it was stupid from this stupid spinal crap.
Mm-hmm.
And I put the phone down, got out, closed the door, went in the gym. 55 minutes later, I walked out. You have to push yourself. No one's. I would say that. I put that hashtag a lot of times. No one's coming to save you.
Yeah.
And it's so true.
Yep.
If you want something, just go and get it. Just go do it yourself.
Well, Jim, you've certainly defied odds when it comes to health and vitality, and you continue to do so, living in remission. But the fact that you're able to do this all with a smile, and you inspire others, you bring joy to others. You are a busy man. You talk about the evolution too, when it comes to where you started as an angler to where you are now. I would never have thought someone of your age, and I don't mean any disrespect, would be as fluent on social media as you are. And to me, that is the true awe factor, is how busy you are on social media. It's amazing.
I think I told you about our granddaughters, the ones that are up below Mattawa, up above between Pembroke and Mattawa, and them saying being in the car, and one of the little girls, who's about 12 or 13, said to our grandkids, "I wish my grandparents were like yours."
Wow.
Because we're not stiff old, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm like.
I know. And I appreciate this comment because I was going to say the same thing. I would make the bed, but I don't know where the dog and the wife would go, and they'd be awfully pissed off for me waking
Roll
up.
them out.
Yeah, that early in the
Pick
morning.
it up and dump them on the floor.
Got a comment here from Jeff Dix. Evening CFN and Jim, Isabel, and I are watching for a little bit before bed.
Cool.
Always nice to see fans stop in and say hello. It's why we do this. And folks, if you here it comes. If you do have questions, if you have anything that you'd like to talk about,
look what I dug out tonight. I'm gonna rig up. We're gonna get the boat in the water, and I'm gonna go fishing.
Holy smokes!
Jeff made these for me. He had made me some other ones, but I wanted some that were a lot softer, so he made me ones that are a lot softer.
Wow!
But this is some serious stuff.
Wowee! That's beautiful stuff.
Yep.
Incredible. Yeah. Oh boy. Yes, Jeff, you're famous now, buddy. You're gonna have everybody asking for those baits. I can, and you might not get to bed. Just saying. It's usually how it works. Jeremy's loving it. Yeah, absolutely. He's a toothy critter fanatic. Yeah, you're loving those lures. So there you go, Jeff. We just made you a sale, my friend. You get a lot of that stuff, Jim. A lot of baits handed to you, a lot of trials. I know we got some stuff that Pal Cassie wants to pass along for your advice. I mean, you are someone that does not hold back. If someone gives you something, you take the time, you look at it, you look over it. I mean, these are some of the things that it's inspiring, and it is such a mentoring that you do for all anglers. And I hope everybody takes notice.
Yeah, it's funny when I went down to the waterfront this morning, and I'm waiting for Andy to come up, and because I was, like I said, I was a hurting unit this morning. I wasn't walking all down across the docks and everything, and he was limestone lures, baby, like that. And he was, and when he came up, by the time he got up, there was literally 15 guys around the truck, fishing guys, around the truck talking to me.
Wow.
And they all got their thing to ask you, and then guys say, "Well, it's one guy I got at the game. What are you doing in town? Are you here for the tournament, Jim, or whatever?" I said, "Well, no, I'm here for coffee. I live here." They look at you.
Duh, bro.
Should have told him that.
Yeah.
Every morning he's stalking me.
No kidding. So some of the highlights, because as you are now sharing a lot of your past experience, a lot of your memories. What are some really cool things that come to mind as you share these memories? I'm sure you sit back and go, "Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. That was so cool." Any really cool moments that you'd like to share?
It's ongoing. It just keeps happening. Like Jeff there, when we did the kids thing with the Gananoque Police Department, we got I think it was 128 kids or something the first time around.
Wow.
And he asked Isabel, he said, "Hey, we're going to go, Big Jim has the one at his house that you went to." And she went, "Oh," and he went, "Yeah." And she said, is he going to be there? And she said, "Oh, yeah." She said, "Okay, I'll go." It's kind of cool. A little kid wants to come see. They see you for 30 seconds and they're gone. You know the way kids are.
Yep.
But it's just, little things like that. I've just been blessed at this. Like I had somebody here the other day who's known me for years off social media, and they said to me, they were in the office here, and they said to me, I thought you'd have all kinds of trophies and things and stuff all over the place, and I said, well, that's not me. Like, I gave all the trophies away. The lure I won like, I don't know, in a month I won $125,000 almost with it. My buddy has it up in North Bay because he looked at it one day. He said, "That is cool." I looked at it and went, "What?" Like, I'm just like that. It's one of those. And he looks at me, then he puts it back down, and I said, "No, keep it, take it home, put it in your collection." He's got a fantastic collection because it's really cool. Because I had that was in the very beginning before it got really big, and I had a custom made rod for crankbaits because Shimano didn't have one. And Tom Brook came to me and said to me after I won the second place, he said, that has to go. We've got crankbait rods now. So I gave the rod to him, and he has it on the wall with the lure. Like he's got the rod mounted, and he's got a little thing that holds it down a little bit, and he's got the lure on the wall underneath it. So that's kind of cool. I take that as that's a really cool thing. Really cool.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Well, I'll tell you what, they've been snapping out. They've been starting to snap out the back a lot more now. A lot of that crap's gone off the top now.
Yep.
And I was just playing around. I was looking for some. I wanted to get into something big, so I get in a box that the guy from Z-Man had sent me, and I found some 3/4 ounce chatterbaits, great big ones. So I'm gonna give this a go out there the next few nights. So you can reel it back really slow and let it sink down nice and deep.
Yeah.
I think it'll make a real big difference out there. But yeah, it's I got a couple of nice ones the other night on the blast bone there, the big swim bait. Well, it's not big. It's about, I think it's almost 6 inches. But I got a couple of real nice ones. And it was so funny because I was reeling it dead slow, so it just looks like a snake, something just coming across the top. And all you see is the mouth and this, and it barely, the water was glass calm, with just a dark street light was on, supposed to be home. As soon as the street lights come on, they bite. It's amazing. It's something to it. But the guy says, it's because of the light. No, the light's like 100 yards away. I see it. It's not anything like that. But it barely broke the surface.
Wow.
It was about probably 4 pounds, 4.5 pounds. Just barely broke the surface when it came up. I'll post a picture of it there later.
That's awesome.
It's really cool. Stuff like that. That's what you do, out the back here. So I was talking to you about that. Oh, I got to tell you, this is even better. Guy calls me up, gets me on the phone. He says, "Can I leave a message for Big Jim?" I said, "Okay, well, hang on. Let me get a pen. I'll write it down." So, and then he leaves the message. And then he says, "Who am I talking to?" I said, "It was Big Jim. You said you wanted him to call you back. I didn't know if you wanted to talk to me now." And the line goes quiet. It's like you can hear the tumbleweeds and the crickets.
Oh, man.
He says, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Oh my God, that's funny." Anyways. So he wanted to ask me about frog fishing.
Okay.
And I said to him, I said, "Well, I said, frog fishing is one of those things that I said, if it's on, it's on. If it's not, well, it's not, eh?"
Mm-hmm.
And he said to me, "Yeah." He said, "I had a frog that I used to fish with all the time. And it was black on the bottom and it was black on the back too. The whole frog was black, and I can't find any black ones." And I said, "Well, maybe you can go online and buy a couple, or call a couple of shops. I'm sure somebody's got all black frogs, because it is a choice in that." And he says to me, "Yeah," he says, "I've looked around a lot. And I really can't." I said, "Well, maybe you could try taking a Sharpie to it and just black the bottom out, a marker."
Sure.
Because he said you had some that had like a green. So I got to talking with him about, well, no frog has a black belly. We got on that chat, and I said, well, the reason the black showed up is because it silhouettes really well. I would use a black frog on a cloudy day, because when a fish looks up, he sees it. It just silhouettes. It's something that works really, really well, and whatever else. So the guy messages me back. He gets me on Facebook, and he tells me, "I can't believe it." I said, "What happened?" He says, "I caught the biggest bass I ever caught in my lake." I said, "How big was it?" He says to me, "It was almost 5 pounds." I said, "Wow, that's a giant. Good for you," and whatever, And I'm texting back, or messaging with him and everything else, right? And then he says to me, "Yeah, I did what you said with the marker." And he said, "I made the bottom of the frog black, and I got it on the first cast." So what are you going to argue with? It was a bright sunny day and everything.
That's awesome.
But yeah, we actually, when we talked on the phone, we actually discussed about frogs, and he said, "I don't see any frogs in my lake, though." And I said, "Well, you don't really think that a bass thinks he's eating a frog, eh?" And he says, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, a bass would have to wait a long time to find a frog in the water. You don't see a lot of frogs in the water where they could eat them. And every chance they get them, just like mice.
Yeah.
I've seen mice in the water get eaten. I've seen it in the Ottawa River.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen bass swim up right onto the shore almost and get them in the Ottawa River. Lots of times. It's something that they really target. And, things like that, it actually happens. But I said, you don't see too many frogs hopping around on lily pads and stuff like that unless they're plastic with fishing line attached to them, whatever else. And he said to me, yeah, because I've never seen a frog at my lake, never. And I said, well, that's, people think that because it's called a frog that the fish thinks it's a frog. The frog ain't thinking. He sees something moving. I told you about the one I caught with the chatterbait a couple of weeks ago with the weeds, bringing it in. I'm reeling it across the top of all the slop at the end of the dock. There's the one patch I have to get across. It's about 10 feet wide right down. And every time I bring the chatterbait and I have to reel it across the top of this crap, and I'm bringing it across the top of the crap, and I stop it, and a 2.5 pounder just comes straight up out of the crap and eats it.
Wow.
He didn't know what it was. It was a ball of weeds with a chatterbait in the middle, and he came up and he bit it, It's that kind of thing. It's just movement.
Well, Jim, you have not wavered from your steadfast belief that fish are not smart. You are on that page. There's no getting you off that page. So I am not going to be the one to argue with you by any means. But as always, dude, our time absolutely flies. I know you weren't expecting to make it tonight. We are so glad you did. So is Isabel, who recognized you right away. And Sparkus is thankful for all the donations that you have given over the years. And George is asking, if you're in the giving mood, do you have any left-handed Metanians running around?
Left? You mean like reel with your left hand?
Yes. Yeah.
What the hell do I want one of those for?
No, he wants it.
I know.
And of course, Ed McKenzie, who, much like yourself, has given so much over the years, and we're thankful to have both of you in this industry and have helped out so many, including myself, get to where we are. Always,
I know one thing that I used to be blessed to get to do was that when a lot of times when they did drive-through at tournaments and you were going to win and stuff like that, nothing beats seeing a little red-haired kid in the crowd. You pick one of the rods off the deck of your boat and give it to him. You hand a kid an $800 rod and reel. Why? Because you can. And I've got people that contact me 25 years later and go, I'm still fishing with the rod you gave me. And they show you a picture and they got 4 kids. You know what I mean? Like, you don't realize it. When you saw them, they were standing there with their tongue hanging out like Opie, like watching the weigh-in. And it's what it is. It still works.
Awesome, buddy. Well, class act as always you are, and an inspiration and a great mentor for the rest of us. So,
hey, you Jim, guys are off this weekend, right?
We are. We are heading to Camp McIntosh.
Up to Camp McIntosh. I hope you do well up there. You should. If you don't, it's certainly not because the fish aren't there.
Yeah. If fish are smart that weekend, it's us that are done.
I've been sending them up little memos all week.
Exactly.
What to avoid.
Yeah. He's going to be the one that casts the biggest shadow. Yeah. He'll be hanging over. He's going to have a CFN hat on. Yeah. Stay away from him. Jim, have yourself a great week, man. We'll talk to you next Monday. All the best, my friend.
Take care, kiddies.
Right on. We'll talk to Lawrence right after a word from our sponsor.
When it comes to Canadian food, we've got your back with flavors like lemon pepper, beer batter, campfire barbecue, lemon pepper dill, garlic butter and chives, and crispy Cajun. We've got a mix for every meal. Whether you're serving East Coast shrimp, West Coast salmon, succulent walleye, chicken wings, or veggies, we've got you covered. Coat your food in outdoor flavors. Available online or at these fine retailers.
Lawrence Gunther in the house.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm fantastic, my friend. Fantastic. I know we've got a lot of news to get to, especially Bluefish radio news. But first and foremost, how was your weekend, my friend?
It was quiet. We had family in, so we didn't head up into the Pontiac to the Bluefish Exploration Center to do more work. We had family, and that comes first, right? So that was fun. They come from out of town, and we don't get to see them that often. So it was a nice weekend.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There is a hot topic that is being discussed, in social media, on social media, around social media, and throughout the industry. We'll get to that later because I think it will spawn a lot of commentary. But leading up to that, obviously, you've got bullet points of all kinds of news and new stuff that's been posted on Bluefish Radio. And of course, if anybody wants to hear this podcast or some of the others that Lawrence and I have done, please go over to Bluefish Canada, Bluefish Radio, and make sure that you download whatever you've missed.
Take it away, man.
Yeah. Take it away.
Yeah. So, we put the Bluefish News that came out on September 11th, last Monday. So it's up there on the bluefishcanada.ca website now. If you want to register and get that Bluefish newsletter, it comes out every 2 weeks. You want to have that sent right into your inbox. No ads, no sharing of your email address, or just go to the website and read it right there. But some of the highlights in there, like first I'm going to talk a little bit about, we've had a hot summer, right? And here's some interesting news. Some of it's not so great. Some of it's sort of conflicting, but let's go through it. There's 3 hot weather stories here I put together. The first one is, so the Cowichan River on Vancouver Island, hundreds of salmon and steelhead were died, and they think it's obviously related to the high temperature, and more specifically algae dying, decomposing, and then a lack of oxygen and excessive pH levels caused from that. And it's sad because the Cowichan Valley was doing so well with the salmon returns. It was really coming back strong. It's a river that the whole community's got behind in terms of making sure it's got solid stream banks, good tree cover there. It's got access to all the fish habitat, spawning habitat, and then to see the salmon and the steelhead come in and perish in the hot water from the lack of oxygen, and it was sad.
Wow. Well, and you see it. It's tough. I mean, even with some of the tournaments that go on, the anglers have to stuff live wells full of ice and all kinds of things, to keep these fish fresh and keep the water cool. But when it comes to that kind of environment, you certainly have to be careful. Yeah, for sure. And can we do something about that? Can we move these fish into deeper water? When they come up, there's so many of them. It's not, there's no way you can get to all of them. And when the fish kills happen, they happen so quickly, it catches people by surprise. Here's another story. This one happened in 2021. So this wasn't recent, but a couple of years ago, still in the Pacific Ocean. They had 45-degree water temperatures along the coast, which is unheard of. It was a record. And there was dead starfish, dead sea urchins. One scientist from the University of British Columbia figures 1 billion animals from the ocean died in that heat wave that year. 1 billion animals. And this really, when you read something like this, you think, oh my God, the whole ocean is just going to be just dead, right? Nothing but gook floating around out there at some point. And it just leaves you feeling kind of hopeless and helpless. And what do we do about this? But then, not to leave it on this note, Light of Hope, another BC University researcher, finds out that they have investigated 250 heat incidents in the ocean, and the colder bottom-dwelling fish don't seem to mind. Like we're not talking, we're not talking sea urchins or we're talking halibut, fish like that. They're not moving north. They're not moving towards the poles to escape the warming water. These are bottom-dwelling fish. They're way down there, so they're probably not even feeling the heat to any degree, and they're doing fine. So there's some hope too there, right? Like, 2 nasty stories, and there's some hope, and that's so important that we take the hope where we can find it. 100%. Corey is just mentioning this is some great advice. Corey, thanks for this. And some people don't know when it comes to salmon, but some good advice here that if you are catching kings in those warmer rivers, the meat's going to be a little punky, especially if that fish has been in the river for a while. And one suggestion that I've heard mentioned before, and Corey mentions it here, is to bleed them out and then put them on ice almost immediately after they've bled out. Keeps the quality of meat up and certainly ensures that you're not going to waste your catch. So great advice. Thanks, Corey. Thanks for that.
Yeah, for sure. That I don't know why more of us don't do that. Bleed the fish out right away instead of just leaving them swimming around in the live well for the rest of the day. It seems you're better off just putting some ice in that live well and keep the water out. And as soon as you catch the fish, you bleed them and put them on ice. And eliminates their suffering. They don't get stressed out right away. And, sometimes you give them a little bonk just to stun them a bit. You don't have to kill them with a bonk on the head, just stun them and then bleed them out. And then they don't even know what's happening, right? They're sort of in a stupor. They're, maybe out cold or dazed, and they don't even feel what's happening to them. And it's the most humane way. And they're finding on some of these commercial ships now, this is how they're doing it. They're bringing the lines right into the belly of the ship, these long lines. They're taking the fish off the hooks. They're bonking them. They're stunning them with electricity, and they're bleeding them out immediately. And the price they're getting for the fish, because you don't get this big load of adrenaline going into the meat and causing the meat to get really stiff and causing the meat to have a funny taste. The fish are relaxed. They're calm, and the quality of the meat is just absolutely stellar. So if you want to eat your fish, that's the way to do it.
Yep. No, completely agree. Especially when with walleye, I can't say it enough how important it is to get the blood out of the fish, because your quality of meat certainly goes up. And I didn't realize it was worth more, but makes sense.
So
I'm sure you have some other news.
Oh, I do. Let's go to the other end of Canada, out to Nova Scotia, Canso. It's that little town right there that separates Nova Scotia from the Cape Breton Island. So the Department of Fisheries put in 1,500 liters of rotten into Lake Dobson, and they killed all the smallmouth bass, right? So someone put the smallmouth bass in there, and the government came along and killed not just the smallmouth bass, but everything in the lake. When you put that much pesticide into a body of water, everything dies. Everything dies.
Yeah.
And you think that's it, right? Like, what's going to happen? Well, by the end of the summer, they found, this was in the spring they did this, and later in the summer, they found brook trout migrating up the river were coming into the lake. So the good news there, this is what they wanted. They wanted the brook trout to get the lake back. Brook trout cannot outcompete smallmouth bass in these bodies of water. They lose. So the government comes in with the big hammer, uses the Rotman, kills all the smallmouth bass, and the brook trout get the upper hand. They say there's no more smallmouth bass in that lake, and that the brook trout will, I mean, it won't happen overnight, but the brook trout are pretty prolific, right? They're pretty feisty little breeders. They spawn a lot, and they have a lot of fecundity. So it probably won't take that long for the brook trout to take over that habitat. Now you got to get the whole food chain back in place, but nature's funny like that. It'll recover. But it seems fairly drastic, right?
And I would have to say, I mean, folks out there might disagree. I'm not sure, but if the smallmouth got in there in the first place, I would almost bet that they're gonna find a way to get in there again.
Someone might do it. Yeah, someone might do it. And hopefully, people will start to get a little more informed and say, look, we don't have to put smallmouth bass in every lake, because they are being relocated by humans. This isn't natural spawning of bass moving from one lake to another. They're being
not birds moving eggs or anything like that.
No, it's buckets. It's buckets.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And that's the problem all through these Atlantic Canada is these white bucket brigades moving smallmouth bass around. It's happening so quickly. There's no scientific evidence that this could ever happen in any sort of natural way, birds or whatever. It's just not going to happen.
Well, again, we don't have to mention it to the folks that are listening because they get it. But transferring fish like that is a big no-no, especially when it's having adverse effects to the natural, historic fish. Those fish that have been there from day one. It's something that we have to be mindful of. And of course, these are why we go to great lengths to make sure that the boat's dry and we're not transporting gobies or any other invasive species. So good segue to give out some great advice, but I'm sure you're not done.
No, because we're going to talk right exactly what you're talking about in the plants, water sojourn in Port Severn, right? This has been in there now for almost 10 years. It's spreading throughout the whole water system. Now, this is a whole canal system, so it can spread by boats moving back and forth, up and down. Yeah. And so they have to take really strong preventative measures to keep it from spreading, and a lot of eradication. So, we're spending money. We're giving grants to organizations to go out there, identify where this plant is, taking hold, and then eliminate the plant, because the alternative is to lose a very important, other weeds and plant life in the waterway that provides habitat. And apparently this stuff, not good habitat, right? So this is, here's an incidence where, we don't want smallmouth to spread, but we're also, there's still a fish we love. And so we're hesitant to take measures. But when it comes to the plants, man, it's like they're more on the lamprey side of the equation, right? If you think of it that way, people don't want it. People don't want to see their beloved lakes taken over by this plant and everything go to hell. So, yeah.
We have that's a great link. Thanks, Steve. Right on point. This is invading species is a great link for aquatic plants and the water soldier that you're speaking of. Thanks, Steve, for sharing that. Mike, you bring me to our next topic, or have you got more, Lawrence?
I got two more quick ones here.
Go.
So they'll go back to central Canada, Lake of the Woods. This is bipolar lake where you got the very north clear water in the north of the Lake of the Woods, and then on the south where the Rainy Lake River comes into it, you've got a very shallow, very warm water in that. So the blue-green algae is taking hold. It will peak in early October. That seems late, for algae to be peaking in these lakes, but it peaks in October. But yeah, it's coming on full on. And this isn't a problem that's been going on for a long time, right? And, there's a lot of opposing forces. Do they choke off the nutrients going into the lake to deal with the blue-green algae that's growing faster and longer because of the warmer water? And in which case, you're going to choke off the nutrients flowing into the north of the lake, and possibly killing off the lake trout and pike up at that end of the lake. So there's opposing forces here, and governments feel, which side do they land on? So they keep studying it instead of making decisions. It's getting a little testy. Those people want to make a decision on this. And the last story, here's something interesting. Mercury Marine is back at it again with more electric outboards. So they announced a couple last year, just around the boat show last January, two small ones plus a little plastic fishing boat. You have a cool little fishing boat. It's like a chubby little kayak with these electric outboards on them.
That's the Veer. That's the Veer, is it not?
It's
made by Lund. Yes,
exactly. And now the Evader is the outboard. So now they've got two more outboards, 20E and 35E. The 35E is equivalent to a 9.9 outboard. And you can hook anywhere from 1 to 4 batteries up to it. They'll sell you the batteries. They got the batteries and they got the charge system, quick charge system. Man, this is getting right to like a Tesla, man. Where you can charge up these batteries, 4 big batteries, and go for a hell of a long time with this 9.9 electric motor. It's pretty cool.
Wow. Well, as I said, Mercury Marine is always at the forefront of technology advances. They had at the NOWT, I didn't realize they have propane outboards.
Yeah. They take the little green tanks.
Unbelievable. So propane, they've got obviously your gas, your 4-stroke, 2-stroke. I know they've got to get rid of 2-stroke, but now you're saying they're going to have an arsenal of electric motors as well. It's
coming. I mean, as battery technology gets lighter and more advanced, this is going to become more and more sort of common. And you think about the maintenance and the cost, long-term costs of having an electric outboard, it's going to be a lot cheaper. I have some electric outboards here, the smaller ones, Torpedoes, and they're bulletproof. They last forever. I have some Mid Coda electric motors, from the back of the boat that you do nothing. You just store them, you put them on the back of the boat, you plug it in, it goes. You never worry about these things. There's no oil to change. There's no spark plugs, nothing. They're really foolproof. It's amazing they cost as much as they do, but this is early adoption kind of stuff. And at some point, there's going to be so much competition. It's just going to be hard to say no to an electric outboard, right? I mean, look at it. We're getting electric lawnmowers and electric, all the lawn keeping equipment is all going electric, and we're just going there because it lasts forever.
100%. And I will say this, at $100 roughly an hour for a shop rate, being able to just plug in and take away a battery and recharge it, and not have to, fix a water pump or any of the other problems we have as boat owners. An electric motor, it does tick a lot of boxes. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. So you had something.
Yes, and I want to talk about it because Mike Howard has brought it up. It is something that had been played. I don't want to play the video because there's controversy even with the video, but it has been brought to our attention, and I'm sure many others who enjoy fishing the tributaries of northern Lake Ontario, the northern end of Lake Ontario, and elsewhere, like here on Georgian Bay, it doesn't matter. There have been, it was quite a run. In fact, there's an argument out there suggesting that it was the best run folks have seen in a long time. The unfortunate drawback or negative part of this all is how anglers have been conducting themselves. It is tough. Mike is saying when he goes down, of course, when you try to educate anglers that are unethically treating fish, and I know you've got you're going to play devil's advocate for a sec, but at the end of the day, we're all going to die too, and it's just a matter of time. We all need the respect that we deserve, and these fish are no different. At the end of the day, you see the mishandling of fish. I don't want to accuse people of fishing illegally, but we all know that it goes on. You've got weighted trebles, you've got people keeping too much fish, you've got garbage, you have people that you reach out to try and educate that want to have a conflict that could turn physical. In return, there is a lot of badness going on with this year's run that is being associated with this year's run, and it's unfortunate because, of course, it brings on that cloud. And when I saw the post, I was immediately upset, not so much that the anglers were acting badly, but that we were broadcasting it. And because at the end of the day, the last thing we want to do is to bring light to something that is being done badly, to have it closed down. Unfortunately, the Ganaraska, when they rerouted it and built the steps and whatever, we don't have a lot of water that typically runs down there in the fall. And there have been suggestions that perhaps it needs to be shut down because it's literally fishing in a barrel. But that might be an argument. And I might, suggest that, yes, that might be a good idea to shut that area down to anglers. But what we don't want to do is, of course, confine everybody to one area where all this nonsense is going to go on, because unfortunately we have anglers out there that are not acting properly. And if anything, I'd like to ask you, as well as everybody that's listening, how do we properly educate these people without getting into a fist fight, without having stuff thrown at us, road rage or anything else? How do we properly educate these people? Because I think that's the question that needs to be asked. We know the nonsense that's going on. We know these fish are going to die, and I know you might have a different argument, Lawrence, but at the end of the day, how do we properly educate these people that what they're doing is wrong? Do we just call the M&R? Do we just call the OPP? What are your suggestions, Lawrence?
Well, I think you're right. I think the science and the knowledge has to trump everything, right? And I think the more information, the more quality information we can get out there, the better. And I was talking to a fish biologist. He spent 20 years on all the committees, on the hatchery committees and the stocking committees for the North Shore of Lake Ontario. He's well regarded. We're going to have him on the podcast soon. We're queuing it up. And I was asking him, how many of these salmon, that are in Lake Ontario, that we put in Lake Ontario, and including the Atlantics, right? We talked about the Atlantics, and he's got some ideas about that as well. And I said, how many of these salmon are actually reproducing naturally? And he says the government's not willing to say, because if they say that it's more than 50%, if it's 60 or 70 or 80%, then they're on the hook to take care of them. If these fish are naturally reproducing, if they're going up, spawning, dying, and their eggs are hatching, and their fry are living in the river successfully and returning to the lake, then the government has to step in and has to take measure to protect these fish. Because what's happening then is totally unethical. You're interfering with the cycle of life. Yeah, we're fishing for fish in a river as they, move up to the spawning beds. It's not that different than almost spearing fish on a spawning bed, right? And we all know what people think about that. But if these fish, if there are identified fish, and I put to his attention, what about the fish that move up the Credit River and get past the Norville Dam and get up to the Credit River Dam, the Georgetown Paper Mill Dam? What about those fish? Are they ever going to reach spawning grounds? Because there's pretty strong pressure from the Isaac Walton Trout Club to not let those salmon get into those headlands of the Credit River and compete with the brown trout and the brook trout for spawning habitat. They'll be undone. The steelhead and the salmon will just overwhelm the brook trout and the browns up in the upper Credit. So those fish might be just bashing their head against a cement wall of a dam until they perish, with never actually having completed their spawning cycle. And if that's the case, then maybe there's something to be said for a limited fishery in those specific instances to take those fish out so that they can provide some food security to certain people. You see this in some places in the Rocky Mountains in the United States, where salmon and other fish run up against a dam, never to complete their spawn. And at some point, they allow a fishery to take place. You call it a fishery, call it a harvest, whatever it is, they're throwing big weighted treble hooks in there and pulling fish out and taking them home and putting them in their freezer, right? So this is all about science and knowledge. And I don't think one shoe fits all, but I think we need to put pressure on the government to say, call it what it is. If these are fish that are naturalized now and they are spawning successfully, then we are interfering with the cycle of life. We need to manage it. The reason that the government is not willing to admit that there are fish that are salmon, coho, and chinook that are successfully spawning now and have naturalized, and it's not just hatcheries. It's not just hatchery fish, which is what they're alluding to. So, they can say, oh, it's just hatchery fish. We put them there. It's put and take, we put them in, you take them out, whatever. It's no big deal. We're not going to waste a lot of resources to go there and look at how you're taking the fish out that we put in for you to take out. Right? That's their argument.
Yep. And, Ed, thanks for sharing some of these stats. On the Bowmanville Creek lift 10 years ago, 80% of the fish that returned were natural. There were no fin clips. Mike's suggesting that on the Ganney, it's all natural except for some Atlantics that come up. But Sean Quinn, he says it best. At the end of the day, it's embarrassing. It is. It's embarrassing to see some of the nonsense that goes on there, to a point where these anglers are now taking away the opportunities for anglers like us who don't want to, confront them, don't want to get into an argument with them, but also can't stand there and watch them do what they do. I've always thought it was a little strange to have anglers waiting around in streams where fish are spawning. You don't typically see walleye anglers in the rivers where walleye are spawning, but it's something that I myself have had to, adapt to, grow accustomed to understand that, this is a fishery. And in some cases, like Mike Howard mentions, the Ganney it's a short season. It's a really short season. So, once they start running, you see a wave of anglers go there, and then as quick as they're there, it's gone. Some of the other tributaries that, perhaps Sean Quinn and others enjoy lasts a little bit longer. So you can spread that that harvest, that bloodbath, whatever you want to call it, out a little bit. But needless to say, at the end of the day, this is a resource, and we need to respect it no differently than any other resource. And again, I don't know what the answer is. I just know there's a lot of conversation going on. There's a lot of critical thinking that's going on.
It's like a highway. It's like a highway where they've taken down the speed signs, the speed limits, and the police have just stepped away. And people say, well, you shouldn't be driving more than 120. That's just unsafe. And they're saying, well, look, no one's saying anything. No one's saying that. I don't see any speed limit signs. I don't see any police officers pulling people over. As far as I'm concerned, there's no limits. And this is what we're dealing with here. We're not going to be able to self-manage our way out of this one. We're not going to be able to educate and coerce because people are just thinking, hey, get out of my way. You're just preventing my access. I have the right to access those fish. And until someone says I'm breaking the law, I'm not breaking the law.
Yeah. Yeah. One suggestion here that I'm seeing with quite a few, and I really appreciate you guys with your comments. Ban roe. There's an argument there. I do see, the census slain of fish and the carcasses being thrown, and of course the arguments, well, they're going to die anyway. Well, if it's got eggs in it, there's a chance that the fishery thrives because of that fish. We'll never know now because the roe's gone. But as I said, I don't know. We definitely have to get better. And as Quinn says, even if you ignore the violation of the fish, it's the garbage. Our rivers are starting to look like the side of the 401 with all the trash. Breaks my heart. And Sean, it does me too. When you see that much fish, and I know it's a natural evolution of the species, but when you see that many fish cut open, thrown to the side, the amount of garbage that is also brought by the anglers and thrown to the side, I don't know, man.
It's like a Holocaust zone. It's like a wasteland. It's just I grew up in Georgetown, Ontario. I was, I think, 9-10 years old when the salmon started coming into my town. I saw what happened. I was there, every day after school fishing, and just to see the stench, to smell it, to step in it, to see how adults were behaving around it. And they all said, well, I don't see any signs. I don't see any laws. There's no one here telling me I can't do this. And they just do it. And I think we need to be asking for, before, we can't become vigilante about this. Yeah. And we're not going to be able to convince people that they have to do something different because we think it's a better thing. Yeah. We need some stronger, conservation rules, and we need stronger enforcement, because what's going to happen is we're playing right into the hands of the anti-angling community. And 100%. They're noticing this, they're taking pictures, and you can believe that next year they'll be there with banners and protest signs and fancy, very sophisticated campaigns to bring fishing to an end.
And that's, it's so funny you say that, because I wonder sometimes, is that who is in these rivers doing these illegal things?
There's always that possibility. There's always that possibility.
You can't take that away. Corey disagrees. For someone who does use salmon eggs for fish bait, he would not like to see roe removed as a means of targeting those fish. But as Jeremy points out, with the number of bait harvesters out there, perhaps maybe there's an ethical way that we can harvest eggs so that anglers can buy it without having to go to that route. And I know there's always going to be anglers out there that cut open the fish to do it. But, at the end of the day, that is a good suggestion, that perhaps we leave it up to our local tackle shops to provide us eggs.
Regulate the harvest of the eggs, regulate the sale of eggs. Because really, how many eggs do you need, right? There's so many comes out of one fish. Can you really use all those eggs before they're going to spoil? Is there any 100%. Chance you could ever do that? No.
Yeah. But as I said, great topic. As always, Lawrence, our time absolutely flies, as it does every friggin' week. It's amazing. Yeah, half an hour goes like that. With everything that you have shared with us, of course, enlighten us with how to act ethically around some of these fish that are currently right now running our rivers. How to deal with people who are unethical. I'm not suggesting you confront them, because I don't want to see anybody get hurt, senselessly. So stay away from them. But as Richard Elliott mentioned, perhaps a video, perhaps take a picture of their plate and any other.
I agree. Yeah, just we should all be contacting the enforcement and saying, hey, get in here, do something. This is where we need to be putting our energy. We need to be putting pressure on our politicians and our enforcement officers who are being denied the opportunity, told not to do it. We need to turn that around and get those politicians to say, hey, now it's time to do something. You can't.
My only concern is when you leave it up to politicians, their answer is just to close it down. That's my fear. Is every time we lean on them to make a decision, it goes against and it goes not in our favor.
Yeah, I agree. If things get worse, if things get too bad, it might go that way because they'll be pandering to the outraged, bleeding hearts who don't fish, right?
And I'll be honest, I show of hands, everybody that's fed up with some of the decisions that have been made already from our guy on the hill. I don't want to see him wade into this because it's not going to end well for us anglers. Lawrence, thanks again, my friend. If you are looking for this podcast and many others that Lawrence and I have done, please go over to Bluefish Canada and Bluefish Radio. You will see it there. It's posted. And Lawrence does a fantastic job making that library available to all of us. And you know what, Lawrence? We thank you for it.
Oh, my pleasure, buddy. Thanks for having me on.
Right on, dude. We'll see you next Monday. You have yourself a great week. Moose is up next, hopefully with Camp McIntosh, right after this word from our sponsor.
What is Flash Boost? Shimano designed innovative Flash Boost technology. It keeps flashing, which attracts fish whether in a pause or while retrieving. The mirror plate, which is fixed by a spring inside the body, vibrates with the lure action to generate diffuse reflection. Even if you stop the lure action, the inner plate will move and continue to flash, giving the lure a sense of life and inviting a fish bite. This is Flash Boost.
Oh,
Moose is in the house.
what's up? Backseat of my truck. How are you?
Oh, fantastic, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm living the dream. It's been a busy day. It's been nonstop. I had a special guest show up a little bit earlier today, and he didn't leave until just about half an hour ago. We're working on some new projects and some new really cool events. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Some of you may know him. I don't want to say too much, but there's some new merchandise coming down the pipeline from our good friend Gallo from Blue Collar Fishing.
Awesome, buddy. Jem, to meet, as I said, I was talking with Manny on the weekend. He had met him. It was just over the moon about this gentleman. He says, you gotta get in touch with him, Scotty. Blah blah blah. Needless to say, I did, Manny. I did exactly as you asked, and you were 100% right. Yeah.
No, he's a complete gentleman, and just like every one of us, absolutely loves the sport. And his social media presence has definitely taken off in the past 2 years. Hey, Alicia. And just, again, through the fishing community and people who know people and this, that, and the other thing, someone saw a video that I was putting out about some apparel, and he reached out and says, Moose, I think you're the guy. We need to get together. We need to chat. I said, Gallo, I'd be happy. I'd be stoked to make your apparel. And he came over. And dude, it was like talking to a cousin or a brother. He was just, we are the same. Yeah. What's up, Jeremy? Great dude, and everything that he's putting out. If you guys haven't had a chance to check him out, you can check him out on TikTok. Awesome content. It's a lot of fun. He is from the West Coast, the west side of the city. Blue Collar Fishing on TikTok. So check him out and name drop if you want. We don't care. Complete gem. But we're gonna get out fishing with him. So we're gonna do some walleye fishing with him, I think, soon. We shall see.
Reason we're here tonight, obviously, it is we're on the eve of what is going to be the second annual OFC Nation retreat up at Camp McIntosh. We played Flash Boost just before we brought you in. How many of those are you bringing this weekend, Moose?
I've got a boat full. But Quinn and I, so Sean Quinn's here with me too, and we've got a game plan. We're going to go up a little earlier. We're going to do a bit of muskie fishing. Say hi to Shannon. She's back there.
I'm just going to say hi, Miss Shannon.
I did see that. Hi.
So yeah, long story short, we're going to load up early. We're going to go on our own little adventure and road trip. This was actually the weekend that we were supposed to go up to Nipigon and film with Cooper and Colin, and unfortunately it didn't happen this year, so we're going to change things up a bit for the road trip. But Sean Quinn and I are going to go on our own little adventure, and Cooper and Colin may join us on day 3. So who knows? They might come for a boat ride, and you may just see the Koopmeister rolling around the French River
with a big Canadian flag, I hope.
Absolutely. So I'm super pumped. I'm super stoked. Wicked group of people going.
Yes.
I have been informed that I think there's 3 spots left, possibly 4 spots left. But we're getting down to the nitty gritty. I know that Tracey and Andre have gone to the end of the moon and back and helped us out immensely when it came to, making sure that everybody had a roof over their head and organizing who's sleeping where, and they're prepping for food and all that stuff. So the amount of work that goes behind the scenes to throw an event like this, whether it's what you do, Scotty, or what I do on the back end, or what Scotty or Steve Shaw does, or what we do at the trade shows, or what Tracey and Andre do to prep the lodge is unbelievable. It's a lot of work, and I just want to make sure that it's a good outing, and they know how appreciative we are to be there, and it's definitely a place that I think that everybody needs to visit. You're not as remote as you would think, but at the same time, like, there's nothing around. All you got to do is enjoy the lodge, enjoy the fishing, enjoy the scenery. In my opinion, it's worth every dime. You can't pay for that sort of serenity. You know what I mean?
100%. And I think it's a great segue and a great opportunity to now bring in Andre and Tracey, owners.
Oh, they're here.
Yeah, McIntosh. They are Moose. You heard every word.
Hey guys.
Hi, Moose. Scotty.
How going?
Moose, I don't know. I got goosebumps knowing that this time, well, let's say in less than a week, we are going to be right there. That's going to be our backdrop. We're going to be enjoying a meal or 2 or 3 at the lodge. Andre and Tracey, it's an honor to have you here tonight to talk about the upcoming 2nd annual OFC Nation retreat, and of course, the fact that you've opened your home basically to our community. We can't thank you enough for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Right on. So some of the questions that folks have been asking that perhaps we should probably get to when it comes to their arrival. Obviously, it's Camp Dory at the Key River. Is there anything special that you want to convey to some of our guests that will be coming?
It's if you're coming in on Thursday, it's 3 p.m. at Camp Dory, which is at Highway 69 in the Key River on the northwest corner. And if you're coming in on Friday, it will be 10 a.m. for your shuttle in.
Okay, so Friday, 10 a.m., 3 on Thursday. When they get to the Key River, is there anywhere special they should park?
Steve or Tracey will be there, or actually Eric might be there. Somebody will be there to kind of assist and point them where to go.
Nice thing, too, is there is a bit of a roundabout there. So if you folks do come in, you have the opportunity to unload your stuff as close to the dock as possible. Don't waste time taking it to the dock at first. You got lots of time to do that because there's a lot of people that will be coming in behind you. But outside of that, is there anything in particular you want folks to pack that they may not think of?
A smile.
A box of good times.
I think when they turn the corner off of the Key River, they'll have a smile on their face. What do you think? What do you guys think?
I 100% agree. And we have some supporting videos to show folks that once you do get on the boat, these are some of the things that you are going to enjoy. The ride in, in my opinion, is worth the price of admission. This is, as Moose said so eloquently,
it's worth the price of a lower unit.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Moose.
I'll tell you that story after we watch this video.
As I said, like this is the trip in. If it's not for the faint of heart, so if you're not into it, don't watch. But Andre is an extremely seasoned boater, and he can guide himself in through the S. Are we taking the S bend, Andre?
It all depends who's following.
There you go. So there's that opportunity that we are going to get the scenic tour on our way to Camp McIntosh. But as I said, the one thing that I tell people all the time is everything jumps out. Like nature, scenery, everything is right there. And take it all in. Make sure you take lots of pictures. Because as quick as, well, it seems like a lot. 40 minutes, that goes by quick. It goes by real quick.
Very. Yeah, 100%. I was lucky enough to lose the lower unit. Actually, I didn't lose the lower unit. I was lucky enough to hit my lower unit and mess up my prop. And I couldn't believe how quickly Andre and what was the other gentleman's name? There's another guy there.
Chris.
Like instantly, hey, we got this. Let's figure this out. Hammer, wood, mallets, and we're putting my prop back together. And good enough that I managed to get it all the way back. But yeah, hospitality and I can't say enough.
Moose, I believe you did do that when you were catching a fish.
So somebody else was catching a fish. It was my last run of the day, and I thought to myself, thank God I've made it all weekend without hitting anything. You know, we saw Andre on the way in, and he was like, yeah, keep going that way. So, yeah, keep going that way. We went that way. Got lost, ended up 2.5 hours or 3 hours in the middle of nowhere on an island. It was raining. It was windy. It was rough. We had no radio. We had no cell phones. And that's when I spoke with the VHF radios. Useless when it's sitting on your countertop at home. But anyway, we made it to the lodge safe and sound. And on the last day, we were cruising out. And I remember that there was a couple there who really wanted to catch, I think it was a muskie or a pike. And, well, don't they hook into one as we're cruising on the way back? And I was so excited that he had gotten one on and his wife's taping him or filming him. So I whipped the boat around. Same line I've been doing every single day the whole time we were there. Whipped the boat around, and I just come a little bit too close, and I hit a shoal with my lower unit. I went flying, and so did everybody else in the boat. Thankfully, the boat was fine. It was just the prop, but Andre managed to get it straight enough that we can get back, and we captured the shot. We lost the prop. It is what it is, but it was all worth the story.
What a story it was. I don't know. It's hard as a boat owner to see that kind of destruction, but you took it well, Moose. I have to give you that, buddy. You took it well.
Better than Jeff. Jeff lost a hole in the lower unit.
Yeah, it's true.
Tell you guys that story at the lodge. It's not very appropriate for this lodge.
It's not appropriate for this. No, 100%. When it comes to the boats, obviously there's an artilla of boats that are available to your guests. One question I was asked today: do you need to have a boating license to operate one of your boats?
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. So just in case anybody doesn't have it that is coming up, by all means, go online and take the course before you get there, or just make sure you're teamed up with someone that does have a license. So we will make sure that whoever does come that doesn't have a license will be able to fish with whoever does. Go ahead, Moose.
How often, you guys have been doing this for quite some time, how often do you replace the props on your boats?
Oh, we're talking about the rental boats?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Every 2 weeks.
I can show you the bin when we're here.
Yes.
That's incredible.
And that's also with regulars because you are in Georgian Bay and it is rocky. So it does happen. Props are $115, just so everybody knows. Yeah, it's the nature of the business having a fish camp on the French Georgian Bay. It is the nature of the business.
I had to make a comment to Andre the first time we came down. I said, Andre, I had no idea. I thought we were just going to the lodge, but it was a whale watching expedition that we were on. Because all of the rocks are just hovering over top of the water. And it literally, Moose, you could attest, you honestly think you're passing humpbacks and sperm whales and all kinds of things as you're making your way to the camp. But yeah, to your point, those who are coming up, make sure you're aware of where you're at and that you're not under full throttle if you're in water that you're not familiar to, because as Moose has brought up, again, bad things happen.
And Chris or Andre, whoever assigns you your boat, will go through the motor with you, keep it unlocked. There's different safety measures we go through with everybody when they get their boat assigned to them.
Now, we have some special guests. Moose has brought up one that we're really hoping, fingers crossed, shows up and And I mean, it would be an honor to see Cooper.
Yeah, he's hoping he's going to pass through on their way home. One of the days, anyway, they're going to stop in and fish with us. So fingers crossed that happens, because I know they're filming for the road trip series. But if it doesn't happen, we did talk about spending another. He's already spent a week up there, or 3 days. I think Cooper and his family were up there filming. So anyway, we got talking, and he may stop in and say hello and do some fishing, but we shall see.
But
That
we
would
do
be
have, we
fantastic.
do have a special guest other than you, Moose, that's coming, and Quinn. Butch Carter,
Oh,
the
cool.
old Raptor coach, is going to be joining Mike, his dad, and the rest of us at our OFC Nation retreat. Looking forward to talking to him, I'm sure he's going to share a few stories. We might have to, feed him a few wobbly pops in order to get some of those really juicy stories out. But needless to say, I'm sure he's going to have a mess of them. Yes, Tony, you're 100%. If there's anything that I can advise everyone, bring earplugs. Bring earplugs. The wildlife does get rowdy at night. Yeah.
And plastic bags. Bring plastic bags.
Yeah, plastic bags. 100%. Yes, 100%. Can't guys that enough.
Well, what's the this year? What's your biggest catch for each species?
54-inch muskie.
Gross.
43 cut off the dock.
Yeah, there was a 42-inch muskie caught off the dock.
Walleye, I think it was 32-inch. Bass.
There's been a bunch of 19 and 20-inch bass caught, so about a pound or so.
It's been a fantastic year for fishing.
One thing that I have been intrigued to see, because we've done enough walleye Wednesday edits up at your camp. Andre, is it true? Are the walleye coming in?
Some guys are coming in with some.
That's the one thing I've noticed is different from other years, is the number of walleye that have been caught this year.
Yeah, it's good.
Definitely an uptick on that. Looking forward to possibly targeting that species, because it outside of that one day that we went out with Chris, that one there, plus some of the walleye picks, Moose, have been absolutely phenomenal as well. But that is a big fish. That is a very big fish. Oh,
yeah, that's 54 there. That's a beauty.
Wow,
that's unreal. Looks really skinny.
Yeah, it looks like a grain more than a bay fish. Beautiful fish.
Incredible. 19, 20-inch bass. Obviously, the numbers of smallies that people have been catching are probably off the charts. It's the one thing that I really emphasize to anybody who's interested in coming. If you like smallmouth fishing, this is the place.
Yeah. Compared to last year, what would you say the water temperatures are like? Are they higher, lower?
Probably about the same. I think we're running
67 was what I was told
surface,
yesterday. Yeah.
Interesting. Because all bodies of water that I've been to recently have just been, water temps have been off. The whole season has been off down here. I wasn't sure if it was the same up there.
It's been the same. The temperatures have been unpredictable. When you're thinking they're warming up, they're still cool, but now.
But it's weird because today it was beautiful, and it's supposed to be beautiful until I believe next week, early next week sometime. So I believe it's going to be like 19, 20 degrees while you guys are here, which is fantastic.
That's swimming weather, Scotty. Bring your Speedo.
I'm knocking on wood right now because I've been watching the forecast for the last, 10 days. And Moose, just like Tracey said, it looks like awesome weather. Doesn't look like we're going to have to compete with rain at all. Temperatures, are going to be beautiful. At night, it'll get cool, great for sleeping, and listening to all the wildlife. No, I'm just kidding. But
you got some garp pike, I see. I was looking at some photos. You got a garp pike off the dock?
My father caught a garp pike off the dock with a minnow. Yes, and it was a fairly big one. Yeah.
That is a decent. Have you ever caught one of those before, Andre?
No, that's the first one I've seen here.
Wow.
But I had another customer catch one, I think it was a week or two after that. Yeah. And then we've been hearing about other people seeing schools of them. So, which is fantastic because when you go on the ministry website, it actually only shows the lower portion of Georgian Bay with Owen Sound.
Mhm.
So I found that rather interesting.
Great question here from Mark Wolf. Outside of a few obligations that he already has, Mark really wanted to come out. If he is thinking of coming out, say next year, he has a 16.5-foot Legend with a 30 horsepower tiller. He was a little bit concerned because of the open water and the stretch across the big water to the mouth of where the camp is at the French River. Would his boat be able to do that with no problem?
Yes.
Yep. 100%.
You got to pick your days, of course. Like nobody's boating 8 footers, so we got to pick your day. But most days it'll be all right.
Mark, I'll give you some advice. The boats they have are incredible. They're fantastic. Don't bring yours.
Yep.
Don't bring it. Save the money. Save the prop. Save the lower unit, and just grab one of their boats. I mean, yeah, take it from my experience. And yet I'm doing it again this year. Smart me, you know?
Well, and you're probably going to be getting rid of that boat at some point soon, Moose, hopefully for your sake. But
stuck with it for the rest of my life now. That's
oh, jeez.
She's mine. She's mine.
Oh, well. Tony's asking favorite outdoor flavor that were up there. I just be Cajun.
Mine is beer batter because it just phenomenal.
I like the urban garlic, but I added it to it.
We actually buy it by the bulk now. So the last, actually one came in 10.5 kilo and the other one came in 12 kilo, I believe. But it's also within the vicinity for us to be able to go pick up our supplies because he is truly a local small business for us.
That's awesome.
That's wicked.
Quinn's asking with the outdoor flavors, is there a stockpile that Andre has a pike ready for us to eat?
Well, I'm hoping we catch some and we don't have to get into the stockpile.
And Quinn is also asking, is it a little too early to start trash talking for the weekend? Never, Quinner. Never. No.
How about we wait for the bonfire for that?
Yes, right? Absolutely. And Mark, 100%. Electronics are very important. However, do not necessarily trust your GPS, as Moose will attest. Last year didn't go so well.
Yeah, if some of you didn't know, even with the new Navionics Plus Premium, they're accurate. They're very accurate within feet. Depending on where you are in the leg, there are times where things are just off. So you might think to yourself you're in the right position, but really you're 4 feet left or 4 feet right, which can make all the difference of a giant boulder. That's not to say that, you can navigate through there properly. Like I've got an 18 3/4 Lund impact, and we had a hard time. We had a really hard time in big water, to the point where we had to pull over for 2.5 hours while the winds calmed down. It was dangerous. It wasn't. It's because we didn't follow Andre for one. But yeah, you're right. But if you are going to come out, safety never takes a holiday. So make sure you got your radios and your life jackets. And there's no point in having life jackets in a compartment because that's not going to save your life if anything does happen. But just respect the water, look at the winds, make sure that you're good to go before you head out. And I can't tell anyone I can't say it enough. Just safety first, man. You never know, regardless of how big or small or how experienced or inexperienced you are, you never know. There's been so many stories told about guys who have hundreds of hours on the water who don't make it home. And that is definitely not something that we want on our watch.
No.
100% well said, Moose. Now, when it comes to vacancy, in case we have enticed some last-minute shoppers, how many spots are still available?
There are 5 total from my understanding. However, we'll need to confirm. I believe there may have been a couple more confirmed within the evening. I think that's 5 total is what I sent out earlier, but I think
so. Scotty, I got an email from you this morning, and then I spoke to Scotty, and he said that his son and 2 others are coming. So would that make it 3 left then?
No, that would make it 5 total.
Okay.
So 2 bedrooms in cabin 5, They have 2 beds each with their own door. There's 2 bathrooms in cabin 5 as well. The total of the cabin has 3 bedrooms. Scotty's son and his buddy are staying in 1 bedroom. And then one that might be so lucky to share a bedroom with Scotty.
God help him. That earplugs, lots of earplugs.
We'll have a bowl of earplugs here for everybody.
That's the price. If you folks are interested, if there's any last-minute tire kickers that are interested in joining the likes of Andre, Tracey, Moose, myself, Quinter, or Butch Carter, it is $390 for the weekend. That's 3 days, 2 nights. That includes your cabin, all your meals, a boat, motor, gas, and worms.
And ice.
And ice. And a box of good times. And meet your dignity at the cabin when you go down to the campfire.
There may be 2 out of those spots full. I did receive an email a couple hours ago. Sean Quinn's actually on the phone with someone right now from work. So they could potentially be gone. So the sooner the better. If you're hearing this or you know of a family member that wants to go on an adventure, wants to go on a trip. Tracey, I know we talked about this. Is there a price for someone who is bringing their own boat?
Yes, it's $145 per night per person.
$145 per night per person. There you go. So if you're bringing your own boat, like the gentleman earlier, it is a little bit cheaper, but I highly recommend you don't bring your own boat and just leave it up to the professionals to get you there and have a good time.
Absolutely. Well, Andre, Tracey, thanks so much for joining us tonight. And thanks again, as you said, opening up the door to your home, which is Camp McIntosh. Moose and I are very much looking forward to seeing the both of you, as well as getting back to the rugged area that is Georgian Bay that I love so much. I absolutely love this part of our province. I can't get enough of it. So on behalf of everyone who's coming, safe travels. And again, Andre, Tracey, thanks for joining us tonight. Anything you'd like to add, Moose?
No, thank you for your hospitality. Are you kidding me? What we do throughout the year definitely doesn't even scratch the surface for what you guys do for us over the 3-day period that we're there. So we're extremely grateful and thankful. Thank you guys very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Moose. Thanks,
Thank you. You're very welcome. Sorry.
Go ahead, Tracey.
Just one big thing. If people are wondering what to bring with them, there is on our website, campmcintosh.com. You can see a list of things not to forget.
Right on.
Oh, good call. A list of
what are some things that folks forget, Tracey?
Sunscreen, and this weekend would definitely be a sunscreen weekend.
Just rain gear.
But
Should be all right.
yeah, not really relevant for this weekend. But sunscreen's been a big thing the past 2 weekends. Guys coming in this.
How are the bugs? And there's no bugs, mosquitoes and black flies, nothing like that right now.
There's the odd mosquito.
At dusk, it's not really. During the day, they haven't been really bad at all, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's awesome. Right on.
Okay.
Well, there it is. Thanks so much again for your time. We will see you shortly. And as I said, looking forward to I can't wait. I can't freaking wait.
Oh, wait, I have a question. I got a question. Guys,
Yes.
what's your shirt size?
Shirt size.
XL, please.
Yes, please. And
Okay.
actually, just make that 4XL because Tracey and Chris are with their sister as well.
It's funny enough, I have them on my list from last year, plus 2XL, but I didn't know what sizes you guys were. So we're doing our best.
You are. Very
Slow.
much. It's
We'll
good.
see you later, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night.
You
Cheers,
too.
guys.
See you soon.
See ya.
Peace. Moose, can't wait to go, man. Can't wait.
Super pumped. Absolutely jacked.
The only shitty part of it is it goes so fast.
Yes.
It
Very
goes
fast. Yes.
so fast, man. Like,
Very fast.
it's almost to a point where I don't know if a weekend's enough anymore. We might have to
Go early.
Yeah.
Come
So,
up with us on Wednesday.
yeah, you're heading. We were talking about this. You're gonna head up a little bit a day early just to get set up and stuff.
Yeah. So Thursday I'll go up. We'll go over the cabin assignments, with Tracey, and she's done a fantastic job so far. So I know I don't have to do much, but yeah, we I think we have to be there for 3 on Thursday. So it gives us, one extra night just to get things set up, get the flags put up. Yeah.
Fantastic. Friday. Fantastic. Yeah, no, it's going to be super exciting. And like I said, if anybody out there knows of someone who wants to go on a road trip, please help us out. Hit the share button, call them, message them, just say, hey, there's a few spots left. In my eyes, the more the merrier. And if we can get it full, then it just solidifies the fact that we could actually get her done and get her full. So
I promise it's going to be a good time. I promise. That's what I'm going for. It will be a good time.
Yes, I have been pumping your tires, Sean. I said, don't talk. When Sean starts talking, just zip it and listen, sit back and enjoy. It's quite a ride. It's always a good ride when Quinter's around.
Thanks,
I need your help, gentlemen.
Yep.
Okay, so we were doing this giveaway from Pow Castings. I don't know if I should probably remove it just now so you guys can see this, but Sean, I know you hunt. Do you see what that is?
It's a jet ski negotiation tactic.
It can be. Yeah, it can be a bit of a persuader.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what that is?
Holding your decoys in place.
You got it, buddy. You got it. So we had a giveaway that we did get some folks that did PM me directly. And what I need from you.
What was the most ridiculous thing you got?
What, as an answer?
Yeah.
I can't say it on live.
It was
no.
Yeah.
I just put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. I'll end it with it. It's a plug. That's all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah,
Definitely
that's
not.
all I'm going to say. It is definitely not that. Thanks for all those who did mention that. But anyway, we did have some correct answers.
There's more than one that came up with that.
I'm not going to say. Moose,
Oh,
don't
boy.
hold me to this. Don't hold me to this.
Oh boy. Network full of freaks out there. Wow.
You got it. Now I need a number between 1 and 5.
4.
4. Okay, here we go. 1, 2,
So
3, 4. We're going to shuffle it, and we are going to announce our winner. So last CFNer standing, as always, we remove one angler at a time. All of you qualified. Thanks so much for your answers. Some were a lot more entertaining than others, but needless to say, we did get the right answer. These folks that are on the wheel did answer it correctly. It is a decoy weight provided by Pow Castings, and we're going to put a CFN prize pack together for our winner. Sorry, Jim, you didn't win. We are going to remove angler by angler. Moose, while we're spinning the wheel, give us one of your best takeaways from Camp McIntosh last year.
Oh boy. The laughs.
Yeah.
The laughs around the campfire. The endless
Scenery.
the scenery's unreal. I think Sean and I are going to go portage this year. We found couldn't find. It's not hard to find, but we went all the way to the end of the river and realized we can't go any further with the boat, and so we're leaving the boat on the shore, and we are going to heel toe express down the gorgeous river and do some fishing and just sort of take it all in. The scenery is unbelievable. Pictures don't do it any justice. If you've never been, it's definitely something that you need to do.
Yep, agreed, 100%. All right, we've got 2 anglers left. Whoever it lands on is the runner-up. Whoever's remaining is the winner. So to Blake and James, I wish you both luck. Let's find out who wins the CFN prize pack. And it looks like it's going to be James Shembry. Right on, James. You win, my friend Blake. You're a runner-up. Really appreciate it. Everybody that answered, of course, Pow Castings for giving us the idea. And we will get that out to you hopefully in the next day or two, just before we leave for Camp McIntosh.
I got something for you.
Okay.
Remember how we talked about some cameras and electronics and stuff?
Yes.
Yes. I think I'm going to give away a camera. But this is how it's going to go down. We spoke about this last week. How do you usually end your video or your show?
Usually just with I love you and have a great night.
Absolutely. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to ask you fine folk, sorry, mosquito fly, to put together a 15-second video and send it to me. And the winner, once a month, we'll choose a winner. And I'll send the video to Scotty, and I think that's how you should end your show. The winner will get a camera.
I love it.
Camera of my choice. It could be a $50 camera. It could be a $500 camera. I'm working on some pretty cool stuff with GoPro and DJI. So first person to come to the table, we may do a GoPro giveaway at the end of every summer. We may do a DJI giveaway every month, but that's sort of in the works. But right now, I want to see what you guys can produce on this. We all have one of these.
So what kind of video are you looking for, Moose? Anything in particular?
A 15-second feel-good fishing video. No audio, just nothing. And every week it's going to change. So this year it's just this month it's just a feel-good fishing video, 15 seconds, no audio, music only.
I love it.
Yeah, we're going to change it up every month.
Right on. Well, I appreciate that, Moose. You're going to stick around. It's the end of the show. As always, I will put you backstage momentarily. Any last things you want to say before you go? But you're not going anywhere. You're going to stay right there. We'll just end this real quick. That is a nod. Quinter is pacing, so we let's not delay. Let's get this done. We don't want Quinn pacing. All right, I'll be right back, Moose. Give me 2 secs. As always, folks, thanks so much for joining us. Truly appreciate your dedication coming here every Monday, taking some time. Sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's 2 hours, but nonetheless, you don't come here and leave empty-handed. There's always something. Again, Shane Shembry, thanks so much for getting the right answer and being the winner of our Powcasting/CFN prize pack. And, of course, to our guests, Andre and Tracey, who stopped in from Camp McIntosh. Looking forward to seeing them, as well as all of you, including Moose, Sean, Butch Carter, Cooper Gallant, Mike Consul, Heather Kuntz, the entire Kuntz family. There's so many I haven't mentioned, of course, and I'm looking forward to fishing with my boy. So very cool all around. Dave, it's time for you to take us away. Have yourselves a great week. Love you all. All the best. Peace.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, I guess we've run out of time. So I've enjoyed it, but I'm going to do something I haven't done since season 1. Turn out the lights. The party's over. They say that all good things